The setting is a sprawling, abandoned urban complex in the Philippines. The challenge, a high-stakes urban counter-sniper duel. Representing the challenger is the Chinese PLA, with a two-man sniper team equipped with the state-of-the-art QBU-10 system. The Filipino team is led by Master Sergeant Haribon David, an elite scout ranger sniper whose philosophy is pure descarte. Observing is PLA Colonel Lei Wei, confident his technology will dominate, and American General Thorne, who predicts the PLA's dependence is a flaw. The PLA team establishes a high ground position, but Haribon anticipates this, hiding low in the urban clutter of a marketplace, invisible to their thermal scopes. He uses shattered glass to disrupt their laser rangefinders, introducing doubt into their automated system. Frustration gives way to tension. Colonel Lei orders a relocation, and the PLA team makes a grave error, moving across open ground. Haribon, watching from the shadows, registers the mistake instantly. He relies entirely on manual calculation, tapping into decades of experience to estimate wind, distance, and bullet drop. The moment the PLA spotter steps into his line of fire, Haribon pulls the trigger. The training round strikes, instantly taking the spotter out of the fight. The remaining PLA sniper is alone and exposed. In the command center, the screen screams, "Target neutralized. Position unknown." Colonel Lei's confidence shatters. The remaining PLA sniper, isolated and terrified, struggles to locate the source of the attack. But Haribon has already executed his exit plan, vanishing back into the urban clutter. The colonel turns to his staff and shouts, "How did he calculate the trajectory?" "The wind data was unstable." His staff can only confirm the impossibility. The shot correction exceeded the capability of the equipment. The truth is simple. Haribon used the inherent unquantifiable skill of a master marksman. The PLA sniper is finally tagged with a flare round from a second hidden position, officially ending the duel. If you're a true full-blooded Filipino who carries the spirit of Puso in your chest, show your support and subscribe to this channel right now. Join us to celebrate the profound and often secret influence of Filipino culture on the world stage. The initial frustration gives way to heightened tension within the PLA command center. The PLA team leader reports that manual rangefinding is proving difficult due to the confusing visual clutter created by the reflections and the sheer density of the environment. Colonel Lei Wei, refusing to accept that simple discard has defeated his technology, orders a tactical relocation. The PLA team, isolated and lacking the decentralized initiative of their Filipino counterparts, moves with predictable haste, making a dangerous repositioning attempt across a stretch of open ground, a grave tactical error driven by technological failure. Haribon, watching through his scope from his low ground position, registers the mistake instantly. He and his spotter are positioned perfectly, using the deep shadows cast by the complex architecture and the haze of the urban environment to their advantage. The moment the PLA sniper team enters the open, they become his target. Haribon does not use a rangefinder. He relies entirely on manual calculation, tapping into decades of experience to estimate wind drift, distance, and bullet drop, a mastery of the fundamentals that no computer can truly replicate in chaotic conditions. He precisely adjusts his scope, compensating perfectly for the non-linear environmental factors, such as heat rising from the concrete and wind tunneling between buildings, that electronic rangefinders consistently miscalculate. His breathing is slow and steady, controlled by the deep Filipino focus Puso ingrained during his rigorous training. The PLA spotter, focused on watching the high, clear vantage points where they would have positioned, is the one who suffers the consequence of the doctrinal error. He steps into Haribon's narrow line of fire. The moment the spotter shifts his weight, Haribon pulls the trigger. The sharp crack of the M700 shatters the silence. The training round strikes the PLA spotter, instantly taking him out of the fight. The speed and precision of the shot are stunning, coming from an unknown angle that defies the PLA's expected geometry. The remaining PLA sniper is now alone and exposed. Colonel Lei Wei, who had been leaning forward in tense anticipation, slams back against his chair, his hand violently gripping the edge of the console. The digital readout screams, "Target neutralized, position unknown." The shock in the command center is palpable. The technological behemoth had been defeated by a nearly invisible, low-tech, purely human solution. The shock rapidly turns to professional devastation. The remaining PLA sniper, isolated and terrified, struggles to locate the source of the attack. He activates his thermal scope in a panic, sweeping the high ground again and again, the area where the Filipino team is not. The PLA doctrine dictates finding the previous firing position, but Haribon has already executed his exit plan, moving silently and instantly after firing, vanishing back into the urban clutter, leaving no heat trail, no sound, and no sign of passage. The colonel orders the sniper to retreat and establish communications, his voice tight with rising disbelief. General Thorne, standing nearby, observes Colonel Lay's professional devastation. The colonel finally turns to his technical staff and shouts a frustrated, anguished question. How did he calculate the trajectory? The wind data was unstable. His scope cannot compensate for that without the solver. Run the numbers again. His staff, checking the raw data, can only confirm the impossibility. The required shot correction exceeded the capability of the standard equipment the Filipinos were using. The truth is simple. Haribon used the inherent, unquantifiable skill of a master marksman who knows his weapon and knows his environment better than any laser. He used his Filipino puso to achieve what the computer failed to do. Perfect, intuitive judgment under pressure. The PLA sniper is finally tagged with a flare round from a second hidden position, officially ending the duel with the PLA team completely neutralized and exposed. The immediate aftermath in the command center is dominated by an awkward, heavy silence. The PLA technical team is frantically attempting to reconstruct the trajectory, the range, and the windage data, seeking any technical anomaly that could explain the impossible shot. They cannot find one. Colonel Lei Wei, now standing alone, walks to the main display showing the chaotic, overlapping satellite map of the urban mock-up. He stares intently at the sector where the Filipino team had hidden, the dense marketplace, a sector his system had flagged as a low-priority noise area. It was the one place their digitized doctrine guaranteed they would not be. The realization dawns on him. His team's success was dependent on the enemy conforming to their algorithms. Haribon had refused to conform. The general approaches the colonel, offering a simple cup of water, allowing the colonel time to process the professional loss. The general gently explains that the Filipino training philosophy is built around combat without infrastructure. They are intentionally taught to disregard the crutch of high-tech gear, viewing GPS as a liability and thermal optics as a distraction if the enemy controls the environment. This extreme self-reliance is what made Haribon invisible. He wasn't using primitive methods. He was using enduring methods, skills that survive power outages, jamming, and signal interference. The colonel's defeat was not by a better rifle, but by a better understanding of the human element in warfare. The true shock was realizing that their multi-billion-dollar investment in technology had not made them masters of the environment, but merely slaves to the data stream. The exercise concludes with the formal exchange of thanks, but the atmosphere is heavy with the profound educational loss suffered by the PLA. Colonel Lei Wei, though professionally humbled, recognizes the immense value of the lesson. He understands that the Filipino sniper's victory transcended equipment. It was a victory of philosophy. He realizes that his command's over-reliance on digital accuracy had bred a fatal complacency in the most fundamental skill of warfare, the ability to survive and operate by instinct. In his final report, Colonel Lei Wei would later write a classified addendum that would ripple through the PLA's modernization programs. The enemy will find the 1% human space left by the 99% technological solution. We must train to become that human space. He immediately mandates a complete overhaul of his unit's basic marksmanship and urban camouflage protocols, shifting emphasis back to manual, non-digital, and improvised fieldcraft. The Filipino operators were not just successful, they were revolutionary in their demonstration of adaptability. The Chinese PLA had delivered a lesson in technological supremacy, but the small, resourceful Philippine SOCOM had delivered the ultimate lesson in warfare. The result of the urban shootout did not just shock the observation post, it fundamentally shocked the colonel into questioning the very foundation of his nation's high-tech combat doctrine, forcing a painful re-evaluation of the role of the human warrior in the digital age.